I watched her walk across the porch and down the steps. In a minute, she'd be gone. She was almost at her bike. I could tell her about that guy Garcia from the chorus who wanted her to call, but I didn't. Let him find her himself. I stared desperately down at the envelope. IWAKFC. Think fast, Marcus, think. Angelica. I've got it. Got what? I jumped the steps from the top to the ground, showing off a bit. The letters, do they mean in Western Australia, kingfishers favor cod? Angelica laughed. She looked nice when she laughed, especially now that a whole lot of her Color Me Christmas lipstick was on the glass and not on her. That's not what it means, she said. I didn't really think so. It's just Robbie and I have a map of Australia in the garage, so I'm sort of Australia-minded. Would you like to see it, the map? We've got unedited in there. It's a famous town right in the middle. Sure. Wait a sec, I said. I had to rush back inside to push the button to open the garage door. She was still there when I came out. I showed her Australia and how you could step from Sydney to Perth, a distance of over 2,000 miles, I said. Or as the crow flies, or the kookaburra. That's an Australian bird that laughs. I have one on a stamp. Angelica looked impressed. I showed her mom's bike in detail, and she was impressed even more. She fingered the big red bow and stroked the shine of the racing handlebars. I'd really like these kind on my bike, she said. Before I realized what I was doing, I was telling her how I'd found these in Henry's trash and how I'd start looking for her if she wanted. How I'd even put them on for her, sort of a late Christmas present. Could you? That'd be great, Angelica said. Nick got the special pedals for me. I hadn't meant to say that either. Who's Nick? I spun both pedals at once. Oh, nobody. A friend of my mother's. I pictured him again in the photograph, smiling down at his son. And I didn't know how I felt. Sad? Angry? I couldn't possibly be jealous, could I? He's just really a paying tenant, I said. Angelica and I stood facing each other, shuffling around like a couple of kookaburras getting ready to dance. I like your garage, Angelica said. It's very comfortable. I flicked my nail against the envelope. You want to tell me what the letters mean now? Angelica studied her tennies again, and I joined her. We both watched her toes wiggle under the red canvas. I'll call you sometime and tell you, she said at last. Okay. I walked her to her bike and inspected the handlebars in a very professional way. These will be real easy to take off as soon as I get the new ones, so see you after Christmas. When she was well out of hearing distance, I leaped up to touch an overhanging branch and yelled, "All right, way to go, Marcus! Woo!" Marcus? The voice was so close and so loud it made me jump again, although not as high. It was only Miss Sarah on the other side of the hedge. All I could see were her eyes and the tip of her nose. What on earth are you whooping and hollering about, Marcus? Oh, nothing. The blue eye and brown eye examined me carefully. Is that girl a friend of yours from school? Yes, she's in a couple of my classes. Oh, Miss Sarah can put more into one word than anybody I know. I wanted to laugh, just imagining, picturing the way it had probably been. Chances are Miss Coriander had spotted Angelica as soon as she came up the porch. Sarah, she'd have gasped the way she does. Sarah, a girl just went into Marcus's house. A girl? A very mature-looking girl. What should we do, Sarah? She and Marcus are all alone. I'll just go out there, Coriander. I'll be on the other side of the hedge, and if the girl screams for help, or if Marcus screams for help, Sarah... So that's all going on in his mind, right? Is everything all right, Marcus? Miss Sarah asked, watching me closely. Everything's fine. Be sure to lock up carefully behind you when you go in, Marcus, and don't forget to close the garage door. I won't, thanks. See you tomorrow. I went inside, turned the lock real hard so she'd be sure to hear it click, swung the garage door down. In the kitchen, I kept the envelope propped in front of me as I washed and dried the glasses. IWAKFC. If wishes and kookaburras. The K could stand for kiss. I almost dropped the glass. Soon it would be dark. I wandered into the living room, lit the lamps, and turned on the tree lights. Mom would be home in a while, and Christmas Eve with all its traditions would start. First, we'd trim the tree and open the gifts. And tonight I'd sleep next to the tree the way I always do Christmas Eve, warm in my sleeping bag, smelling the cold forest smells, imagining... I stopped imagining before I began. Where was my sleeping bag? I'd taken it out of my closet and stashed it in the garage a couple of weeks ago. I'd forgotten that when Robbie and I checked the garage earlier. Was it still there? I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember when I'd last seen it. I went back in the kitchen, opened the garage, and turned on the light. On the workbench was the big bag of potting soil, the pile of clay pots, and the oil can. The tools hung neatly from the pegboard above. No sleeping bag. It was too big to miss, but I went out and moved everything anyway, checking. The sleeping bag was gone. No. Yeah.